And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe. That's right, Joe's right there. He's not scary. He's actually really fun to talk to. And you can go ahead and listen to more of Joe Soro each and every time out by subscribing. That's right, subscribing on our channel. It's a good thing. There you go. I was even asking you to subscribe from, of course, the Dollar Loan Center last night in Henderson if you saw my shorts. So if you want to go ahead and check out my YouTube short, that's below, but you got to remember to be a subscriber so you get the latest notifications on when we go on the air. And if you could like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. I just recorded the latest episode of Inside Sports Fantasy Football with Chris Sardieri, who's going to be on Saturday for our fantasy basketball special. So check that out on Saturday. He and I just recorded what's going on for NFL Week 5. Go ahead and check that out wherever you get your podcast. Plus also our good friends at Game Source, LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what Joe Soro is doing today at LakersBall.com. Plus also as well, our good friends at Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and check out what Jamie Sweet and his 5 Things articles are all about at Lakerholics.com. Also as well, Laker Tom, the number one Lakers blogger that's out there. I know he's feeling a little bit better because I've been interacting a little bit with him on Twitter. Plus, I know there's been some side issues, so I know he's been all over the top of that. So go ahead and check out what they're doing today at Lakerholics.com. Plus, our good friends at the Hoop Heads Podcast Network. And of course, Joe's great company. If you're in the Southern California area, you need to go ahead and get your lawn transformed by none other than Sinblades with a Y. That's sinblades.com. I'll tell you what, great to have you here. We've had some great responses over the past couple days to Joe's comments, I should say. I want to say Joe's rant, but Joe's comments. Plus also as well, me last night, again, in Henderson at the Dollar Loan Center Arena, checking out the first matchup ever between Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson. I've got more to say on that. I know a lot of people are talking about it. It's all over the NBA scene. That was a sensational game. Both guys were doing tremendous things to solidify themselves as the number 1 and number 2 draft choices next year. So I will have some comments on that. I know Joe had a chance to talk about it. Plus, he shared some thoughts on it in our email today. So we're going to go ahead and definitely talk about that. I'm very excited I got a chance to see that. Plus, of course, we're going to be talking about the Lakers because tonight the Lakers did play in my neck of the woods here in Las Vegas. I almost went to the game, almost got some tickets headed my way, but at the last minute didn't kind of work out. And I said, that's good because LeBron will only play 15 minutes anyways, most likely. Well, I was wrong on that. He played 17 and did actually a great job. Back to the LeBron we know more about, as he actually contributed a great job in the first quarter. Him and Westbrook looked really good as far as meshing together in the first quarter and the first half. The Lakers did hold a lead of about 7 points. Not too bad heading into the break. They did unfortunately play some of the backups, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out as the Lakers ended up in the fourth quarter getting outscored 28-20. But it was a close loss, 119-115. There were some changes in the lineup as, well, Kendrick Nunn was coming off the bench. Obviously, the disappointing bench performance on Monday may have alluded to that, and he came off the bench and scored 21 points in a very encouraging sign, 4 out of 7 from the three-point area. Austin Reeves and Wenyen Gabriel were vaulted into the starting lineup because Anthony Davis was sitting out tonight. So a lot of things to discuss, and actually the fact that the Lakers did in the first half look pretty good. They stayed pretty good, and they actually did have a lead going at the halftime and actually played very well in the first quarter. But here today to talk about today's game, what looked good and what didn't, and why they ultimately lost. He's a good man indeed. You can go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Terrell Davis is already throwing the bacon out at us. Give us bacon. The rest can go to the G League. Well, I'll tell you what. if they go to the G League Ignite and play with Scoot Henderson, they might be having a lot of fun because that kid is for real.
I wish Darvin Ham had let Nunn play in the fourth quarter because I think we probably would have won.
Yeah, I agree. Because we got off
But
to a slow fourth quarter. It
yeah,
was, yeah.
they just needed one guy to guarantee a legitimate shot maker. I'm turning into Jerry West. I had a stomach ache watching the fourth quarter.
Well, let me ask you this: the starting lineup was changed again. Anthony Davis did not play today's game. Remember, it's a back-to-back because tomorrow night they'll be
Yeah,
still at the T-Mobile.
that's not a. I think they were discussing that it was his back, but
Yeah,
that's just code for
yeah.
we're not playing you in the back-to-back game.
I will tell you the Pheonix starting lineup. Most of them were actually at the game last night in Henderson, but when it comes to the back to back, like you said, it's just the fact that you're going to see people sitting out with injuries, quote unquote, like that. So I'm assuming everything's okay with Anthony Davis, but also out of the lineup as well was Damian Jones. He was actually coming off the bench. There was no traditional center in the lineup, the starting lineup for the Lakers. That was something different that was posed for the team tonight.
They need a big.
Uh-huh.
They need a big bad. All due respect to Damon Jones and your guy Gabriel.
He's only my guy because, like I said, okay. I will say this about Wenyan Gabriel: he hustles. He gives you the energy he has. But the reason why he's been on 6 different teams,
He gets blocked by the rim.
yeah, he gets blocked by the rim, cannot shoot to save his life, and he really doesn't give you a whole lot outside of his energy. And if you're looking for energy, he can give you that, but he can't give you much more, which is the reason why he's been on 6 different teams.
I don't know how they can do it, but they need a functional big. Thomas Bryant looks like he's moving very slow. I don't know if he's going to get loose enough down the road, but he just looks pretty stiff from his injury. And even then, I don't know if he has the lateral movement to keep up with some of the talented bigs in the league, or even like any front court guys. It's the most encouraging thing about today's game was Kendrick Nunn, and this is something we've been discussing since last year. That
And LeBron actually doing pretty
LeBron is not a surprise. LeBron's going to do what he does.
well, coming off that 0 for 7 performance on Monday.
Yeah, true. Usually great ones don't have back-to-back bad games, so that makes sense. There is some hope that the Lakers will have a perimeter player who can shoot and make baskets near the rim. If he stays healthy, it's going to be a huge boost. Russell Westbrook's had a decent couple games here. Unfortunately, we can't really judge how that's going to play out when the season starts. We're going to have to see what happens there. But my take on these first 2 games, especially today's game, was the Lakers are going to have to do some kind of reinforcement at the front line. I don't. It might make a difference if the perimeter players play like this. That's how I'm looking at it. Austin Reeves played a much better game today. He was active as he usually is, but more functional.
Yes.
Anyone else? I would say I know everybody's
9 assists for Austin Reeves.
Yeah, I know everyone's up and kind of giving Bacon a little love, and he deserves it. But
yeah,
this whatever performance you saw in the end of the third and fourth, that's the G League team. I don't know necessarily how that's going to play out.
Bacon's bounced around. This is his 4th NBA team if he sticks with the team. As someone that, again, provides a little bit from the wing area, he does score a little bit. But, again, here's the reason why he went from a promising player with Indiana to being a bounced around veteran.
Yeah, and I think the Suns are off a little too.
Yeah.
That's something to monitor.
Maybe they did too much partying after the show, maybe right near there at the Henderson. Green Valley Station.
I
There's a casino right next door, right across the
well, I
street.
also think the fact that they lost to an Australian team when
Yeah,
they probably
they were
shouldn't have.
very motivated.
Yeah,
You're right.
and that's why there was so much venom on the last show we did, was because it's not just a Laker issue. It's just an overall mentality of these guys, these players that don't have any kind of heart to show who they are. Well, I would say their heart is that they're okay with losing to inferior players or
Mhm.
inferior teams, which is sad. I mean, someone needs to do something. No, none of these guys can kind of test their manhood a little bit.
Yeah,
Now, the beautiful thing about today and why I'm probably not in a bad mood is I did see some positive things, not only from
I
the
did as well.
Lakers, but just to show that I'm not just a Laker glasses wearing guy. Um,
And big
I,
shout out to Nicholas. He actually enjoyed
I,
your.
I, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that next. But I wanna really reiterate how on why I was encouraged today. And sometimes all it takes is one thing. Sometimes it's just one little thing that'll make me happy after assuming that everybody sucks. So NBA brass, the NBA people,
Mhm.
uh, were trying to tell your boy Victor to shut it down until the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when they spoke with his agent, they were almost scared in their description of that, saying, "Oof, we don't want to tell him they kind of want you to shut him down." And they used the words, he was so pissed off that he lost and that basketball first and everything else second. I mean, when I hear things like that, again, for the audience out there, if you really want to make me happy, not that you should, and that's not your job, but those are the things I love to hear. And this is coming
Absolutely.
from a teenager.
Yep.
And when a teenager has more brass in his pants than guys that are playing as veterans in the league and blowing wins against an Australian inferior team, that's the stuff that's gonna ignite, because that's how athletes are. They gotta get they gotta get sparked a little, like have their manhood tested, right?
Mhm.
Well, if you've got a 19-year-old coming in the league next year, dropping dimes on you, dropping threes, and slapping you around and saying, "This is the NBA," that's when things are going to go back the way they're supposed to. And that's all I'm asking for, guys. I'm asking for masculinity. I want men to want to win and want to compete, because it makes the game so much more. Look at today. Look at tonight. Look how they were competing. Look how
Yeah.
how enjoyable that is. I know it's a preseason game. I know it doesn't mean anything, but it sort of does. It gets your mind ready. I mean, they have these games for a reason, so that you can start getting things going, start getting those juices going, and wanting to start thinking about, oh, this is what we're going to do for the next 82 games. So, it's either you be a man, know that you're in a sport, know that it's about competition and winning, or you can live your life like John and just go, meh. Which one do you guys want? Which one do you want? I mean, be honest, you know which one I want. And for you people out there who are listening, I mean, come on, let's get real here. Let's enjoy this. So with that,
I will say though that the kid.
Nick. So go ahead. Sorry.
I will say that the kids, though, Christie, Pippen, and Swider, they need some time in the G League. I think that, especially in Christie's case, he's got a long way to develop. And unfortunately, you only gave him a 2-year contract to develop it in. So that was kind of to the detriment as far as the mistake I think that they're making, because I think he's a long term project at best if he's going to make it in the league. But I will say that to right now, John, he's asking you, Joe. He's here for your thoughts on the Westbrook trade. I think he's going to continue to mock that.
What Westbrook trade?
Yeah, that's the idea. I think that's what he was joking
You
for.
should. I think he's thinking about Tom. Tom is always talking about a Westbrook trade, not me.
See,
I made it very clear about a month and a half ago that there's not going to be a trade.
All right. So, John, even though he's not going to be able to make it, please go ahead and check out his John McCalian YouTube channel. Please go ahead and subscribe today for some great conversations wherever you get your YouTube. Wanted to go ahead and mention again the Lakers did unfortunately fall short tonight, 119 to 115. Got outscored in that fourth quarter, 28-20, which was the difference. Actually got off to a bad start to that fourth quarter, but otherwise I think was very competitive for a team, again, not having AD in the lineup, not having Damian Jones starting. I think that I agree with BDA. He is concerned because, as he mentioned in the chat, about how the 5 spot is now or could be a growing problem. Damian Jones has been unimpressive in 2 games so far. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Thomas Bryant didn't get off the bench. I don't know if it was injury related. They were just sitting him down for rest purposes. They plan to play him tomorrow, what have you. I didn't hear anything on Bryant, but I know Jay Huff. I'd like to see him at least get a chance or a sniff of some minutes, and he hasn't even come off the pine yet. So your thoughts on this? I think we're still a long ways to go when it comes to a viable center for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, it's first 2 games of preseason. It's really bad. Matter of fact, it's really bad. If you're not going to be able to at least catch some alley oops and make some layups, I mean, watching Gabriel get blocked by that rim, I was just like, oh.
And this is not the first time it's happened while he's been a Laker.
I know.
It happened last season too.
I don't understand what's happened in the. Do these guys do layup drills?
They're supposed to every game. They look good when they come on the pregame show.
I don't know. I don't understand how an NBA player, especially when they're above 6'7", how they miss layups, especially when there's no contested shot.
Well, that's why I'm saying I know a lot of people are pining for Gabriel in the rotation. I am not, simply because of the fact that, yes, he does have all the hustle in the world. But I think you are in trouble if you're asking him to give you minutes because of the fact he has very little basketball talent as far as at an NBA level. He doesn't shoot well, as we saw, and as we saw last season and now this season. He can play defense for you, but the thing is, he's still slight and gets outmuscled underneath. So I don't know what he can give you really consistently outside of hustle. And that's the problem. If you're putting him in your regular rotation, that means you're just losing a lot of depth. You just don't have a lot of depth in where, as far as on your front line is concerned.
No, it's a problem. This is a problem. If by some miracle Westbrook plays well, that'll be a major deficiency, and it's as real as the fake grass that I installed, and it's as real as my bank account compared to John's bank account. So when people are assuming and talking smack about something they don't know, and they got nothing to back it up, that seems to be a habit of people out there.
Well, according to John, on a scale, and let's get to the bottom question, because I know a lot of people are still focusing on Westbrook, and I know Luca, who doesn't trust us as a show, but still continues to watch. And thank you for watching, by the way, Luca, even though you don't trust us yet, as you say.
No. You don't trust me.
Okay, well, all right. He doesn't trust you, but anyways.
But Nick Molina trusts me.
Okay, that's true. That's
Nick,
true.
You're my guy, and I love the name Nick Molina. Just sounds like a tough guy. I like tough guys.
But I want to ask you this. I know Westbrook is still the thing that people are talking about, obviously for all the reasons which you've discussed ad nauseum, but they actually didn't look bad together tonight, him and Braun playing. I mean, Westbrook started off 11 points in his first stint in the first quarter, looked pretty good, and helped the Lakers to build a pretty good lead.
No, we're gonna have to wait till the season starts. We got to see the real competition here. Westbrook still can't shoot, but he did make me feel a little bit better about his layup game. So I don't know. I got to see that one. I got to see that one when the season starts.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, it was pretty good performance for Russell Westbrook overall. 12 points, 6 rebounds,
That
3
was a
assists.
compliment to you, John, too. I'm just saying, it's reality.
2 of 4 from 3. I mean, like I said, it wasn't bad. He didn't shoot well from inside the 3. He ended up 4 of 12. But, overall, he was a +5, which is tops on the team. So I'm going to give him credit that he actually did play a decent game for today. So him and LeBron James actually kicked off the team well. They got off to a good start as a team, as a unit, even though Austin Reeves and Wendy Gabriel in that first quarter didn't give them a whole lot. So I want to go ahead and give them credit. Patrick Beverly, a guy I know that you've been giving a lot of flack to, he did go ahead and create a lot of good things on the defensive end, at least in the beginning. Actually blocked a shot of DeAndre Ayton. I thought that was kind of funny in and of itself as our 6'1" wing. But, he didn't do so bad at 8 points. But again, the thing comes down to is Kendrick Nunn, 21 points off the bench, 4 of 7 from 3, 8 of 13 overall, looked really good from the offensive end. The thing is, though, that because of the fact that the Lakers are so bereft of talent when it comes through players 6 through 15, it looks like he may be coming off the bench, and that may stick for him for at least the short term going forward.
I was thinking about it while he was doing his business. I was thinking, man, we need a center and we need a starting two really bad. And I go, wow, if Kendrick Nunn could be that guy off the bench, he could be a 6-man of the year type. And that would be what would help. It just, his game and his effectiveness was so online with a bench role where when LeBron sits, when AD sits, here's Kendrick that's going to keep the leads and stabilize things or extend the leads. I was starting to turn into Laker Tom towards the third quarter. I really was. I'm not going to lie. Watching Gabriel miss that layup, I was like, oh, man. Oh, like, I really want Miles Turner now. I was like, do we do it? Do we not do it? I don't know. I don't want to give up the 2 picks, but I'm like, man, if you had a Miles Turner with this team, it actually would work. And I know Buddy Hield is not, the defensive type, but man, he could start at the 2. So I'm not gonna lie, man. I started thinking about it a little bit more in the third, based off of what I saw today, because they did do a good job playing against a Devin Booker, who I think dropped 24 points. So it wasn't like they weren't competing. It
took a lot of shots, though, 7 for 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me. I know efficiency is a big thing in this league, but I watched Kobe Bryant go to 7 finals in 14 years, being, I don't know, would you say inefficient?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, efficiency is W's. That's my efficiency. I don't know.
They did enough to win in that, for the game today. So
yeah, John. We all know he's. I know Turner's injury prone, but you gotta go for the double zeros at this point. There's no, risk. There's no room for not risking. Now, I'm not saying give up the 2 first, but Rob needs to figure out a way, if that deal is still open, to try to figure out a third team that can send Indiana another pick. And somebody that owes you a favor, maybe Cleveland or something, because Cleveland seems to be the only team that's ever helped you out.
Well, again, like I said, it was okay, and I know that BDA is right. At $47 million, he can't just look okay. He's got to be playing at a star level. But I will say they did get off to a good start together, him and LeBron, which is the reason why that they actually pulled out to a nice 11, 12-point lead, I think, at one time the first quarter. So pretty solid. And if you can go ahead and continue that, the thing is, can they continue that through 4 quarters? That has been the problem so far this exhibition season, is them continuing that progression as far as good play and keeping that level up, even when they bring in people off the bench. I think it just speaks again to the lack of talent that we have as far as not being able to sustain leads that the starting lineup can give you, as they've done now for 2 straight games. That, to me, I think is the biggest problem that we need to tackle.
I'd like to see if they can win tomorrow. I want them to win. Winning helps, even in a no reason game. I wanted them to win so that they can feel the win and get the momentum going to winning. I would really I wouldn't feel good if they end up going 0-6 again. It's just not going to feel good. Could they go 3-3? Do you see something like that? Maybe 2-4? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But I'm in a boat. I'm in a situation at this moment tonight in saying that the Lakers are in desperate need of a big, and if they're gonna keep Westbrook for the year, and he somewhat plays well like he has the first two games, then they're gonna really need to figure out to get a guy, hopefully before the trade deadline.
Well, this speaks well, though, for Dennis Schroeder and Lonnie Walker IV, who have not gotten into the lineup as of yet as possibilities to go ahead and get some time. I didn't say you're going to get any better production from these guys, but they're both veterans. They're both attuned to what the NBA is all about. So maybe they can go ahead and give you some type of consistent productivity off the bench that you're not getting right now. And that's the only concern I really have at this point in time, because the other things, as far as the depth, I mean, these are things that you can't just wave a magic wand and say, there you go. You have to go ahead and build that with either a trade with a superstar for 3 or 4 players that build your team's depth, or build that out on the off season, because right now, pretty much the team that we have is the team we may get.
We're gonna have to get a big.
Yeah.
If they start playing well, there has to. That is a that Muscala trade just rearing its head here. We could have definitely used our.
Zubats.
We could have definitely used Zubats for this team. He actually would have been really good
Yep.
next to AD. But if I had to predict what the Lakers are crossing their fingers on right now, is they're hoping that Russell Westbrook and LeBron can play the way they've been playing the last two games in the regular season. If that happens, the stress will come down a little bit, and then at that point, Rob maybe can focus on trying to maybe put a couple of pieces into this team to help in the low block. I can't have a big that misses layups. That can't happen. We we already had this problem with Westbrook last year.
Yeah.
And definitely not from a guy who's supposed to be 6'10", and you put your arm up and you touch the rim. How do you miss layups when you're that tall? I don't get it. I don't. My brain doesn't compute. Are you the only guy I ever seen that did that was Kwame Brown back when. I actually
Well, I'm
called
telling you, there's a reason why, again, he has been on 6 different
but
teams.
Damon Jones is not that better either. He struggles too.
Well, they see this kid. They see this kid who's athletic, who has a lot of motivation, and as far as 6'9", he can play the wing for you. He could play even a little bit of emergency center for you. But the thing is, then you get him on your team, and then you realize what he can and cannot do, and that is the problem. I think that he's not going to be able to develop his game any further. You mentioned Ivica Zubats. What hurts the most for Lakers fans after that horrible trade is the fact that the kid now, several years later after that trade was executed, is only 25. He's only 25, which is so irritating to me that, like you said, he could be on this team right now, yet he's not. Just simply the fact, again, that we've built a team that is lacking in depth, and that's going to be something I'm very worried about if there are any injuries. This team absolutely has to have LeBron and AD stay healthy. And now Kendrick Nunn, the way he's playing, if he continues to play like that, he has to stay healthy, or it's really going to be some problems for the Los Angeles Lakers.
There was no doubt he would play well. I had no doubt that he would play well. We've been waiting for this for a year. He was my wild. He was not even my wild. He was the X factor last year. I was very interested in seeing what he was going to do in helping the team, and it was very exciting to see what might happen. As far as how the Lakers can do this, we're going to be in a predicament here. What if the Lakers come out the gate at 10-5 and Westbrook's playing well?
Oh, there you go.
Now, what do you do in terms of assets? Because if you're saying, look, I think this Westbrook thing is starting to maybe do what it's supposed to do, What if we end up going 30 and 20 in 50 games with him? But you still need that a couple pieces to kind of round this team out. So let's say Westbrook turns into what we wished he would, and Kendrick Nunn is playing 65, 70 games this year and really doing well, right? You're going to need some depth in the front court to make sure that AD doesn't wear out, and LeBron. And that's where we're going to have to see if there's going to be someone out there that wants to get traded, demands to get traded, or if the Lakers can somehow figure out a package or something to what would we do? Would we send a first round pick for just a big? That doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So we're it's almost like, and that's. I was thinking about it in the third quarter. I'm going, damn it. Okay, what do we do here? We're stuck. It doesn't matter if Jerry West was running this thing or if it was John running this thing. It wouldn't matter. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting play out. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. It will be. It's going to be what I said in the summer. If it works out, you're a genius. If it doesn't work out, you're terrible. And we just have to wait to see which one it is.
Well, I do want to mention to Richard, tonight's listed injury for Anthony Davis was a lower back, but we may be thinking it's because they were doing a back-to-back here in Vegas. That may be
and I think that's what they did. I thought that was kind of an interesting pun.
Yeah,
I actually laughed when I heard because I hadn't heard anything. Even in all the injuries that AD has had in his career, I've never heard of a back issue. So when I read back, I was like, "Oh, that's cute. That's funny." Back to back. I thought that was good. Whoever did that wasn't on. That was on purpose. That had to have been on purpose. So I thought
they
that was
will
kind
be
of
playing.
funny.
They will be playing back-to-back tomorrow night here in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena.
It was one back, right? So this is the fresh leg of the back. And maybe I'm giving somebody too much credit, but if it was an accident, that's kind of funny too.
So I don't want to make too much out of it. We'll see what tomorrow night if he sits out both games. So we'll see what happens there. But once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you watching and listening. John McKaylian is all over the chat saying thanks for going ahead and mentioning him in the same sentence as Jerry West. We wouldn't be in this. Huh?
Who put him in the same sentence as Jerry West?
You did.
I meant bad and good. I didn't put him in the same sentence.
He doesn't care. He was thankful that you were in the same sentence indeed, but definitely something we want to go ahead and just before we go ahead into the Victor versus Scoot game. And I really want to go ahead and touch on that because that was something amazing that we saw last night. I saw it live and in person. I was truly blessed that I did. Before we head on out, my friend, and talk about that, I do want to mention that the Lakers game, again, you said and I said that there were some positive things you could take away from it. Again, the way that LeBron and Russell played together, I thought was pretty good, pretty promising. When LeBron is on, you can see that he can still go ahead and take over at periods of time. He only needed 17 minutes to score 23 points. He was actually having that scoring mentality, which I think is going to be needed during the course of the season. Your thoughts on it? I still think he needs to be the number one on this team. I don't think AD should be given that number one spot. I know we keep trying to give it. I know he keeps trying to give it. I know everybody keeps trying to give that number one slot to AD. I still think it's best if you go ahead and let LeBron do the bulk of the scoring.
It's LeBron is a ball handling superstar. I don't know how he doesn't become the first option. He controls the game. He's Peyton Manning. I know Peyton Manning was kind of stiff in his last season, winning that last Super Bowl, and Von Miller was the MVP of that team. So you could say, if you wanted to put it to some kind of comparison, even though he's not as stiff as Manning was, but he's kind of like in the Manning role, and AD's playing maybe the Von Miller role because he's the young, still in his prime guy, right? but you still don't win a Super Bowl. You still have the sheriff in charge,
Mhm.
and that's what LeBron is. LeBron just happens to actually not to be still really good,
Yeah.
not debilitated in any way. So that's kind of how I look at it. I don't think you can say in a lot of ways it's just not a whose team is it situation. I never really saw it that way. When you were watching, uh, you know, up until before last year when it was when they were playing. Um, I mean, it's like they kind of take turns. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Kobe and Shaq. Some games Shaq owned and some games Kobe owned. And
Well, you know,
it,
AD is not the one who's always forcing the momentum or forcing the tempo or forcing actually to go ahead. AD usually sometimes disappears in games. AD sometimes usually takes a lot of motivating. LeBron has to sometimes make the effort to go ahead and get AD involved in the offense because, yes, you and I both know AD sometimes disappears in the offense sometimes. So I'm thinking that, again, LeBron still needs to be the number one focus as far as this offense is concerned. But if you have AD as a 1A, you're getting him a lot of shots as far as, and you're keeping him to go ahead and making sure that he does take 20 shots a game. I think that's good. But Kendrick Nunn, if he keeps continuing to play like he did today, you have to make sure you find room in your offense for him as well.
well, because he's got a pretty quick release too.
Yeah.
Almost looks kind of like God. Who was it that shot reminded me of? Because he shoots it left-handed. It's kind of like a Isaiah Thomas like quick shot, and it's so like dead in the shot. It just goes in. It's soft, and it gets out of his hands really really quick. That's a great thing because if you're running the break and he happens to leak out, and in this day and age, a fast break three is popular, or if you find him at the last 2-3 seconds of the shot clock and he's got a little bit of room, he's going to have a good shot at that, a good shot at making it. His skill set, and of course, if they close out on him, he can move around them and get to the hole. Kendrick Nunn, if I'm the coach, I'm coaching that guy immensely this year and say, look, you can be the third guy here. You could really be the third guy, not Westbrook, but you. If
Mhm.
you're going to be scoring like you scored today, and a lot of it was against the starters of the Phoenix. This wasn't him doing it in the second half, which is
Yep. Because
I
they
wish
played more minutes. They played more minutes
they
than the
they
Lakers
did. They
starting.
did.
Yeah.
They did. And I kind of wish, I was hoping, and I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was hoping that Darvin Ham would have let him in the fourth quarter because there was a dead spell there for a while. I'm like, oh, we just need one guy that can
Yeah,
score.
they started off the fourth quarter very
And
slow.
then they can kind of keep that momentum that they had where they were up 5 points. And then if they can do that, through the end of the fourth, then they probably would have been able to win the game. But I really believe that if he stays healthy, he's going to be a huge factor in the Lakers winning.
Well, we were worried about that as far as his health, but we were worried about making an impression on him until he actually got back on the court after almost a year and a half
Damon
gone.
Stoudemire, that's what it was. He
Okay.
reminds me of Damon Stoudemire when he shoots.
Wasn't his nickname Mighty Mouse?
Yes. Now he's a much quicker player, but his shot reminds me of Damon Stoudemire. Thank you for Richard. Thank you for bringing up Greg Anthony. When I read that, I remembered Portland, and then Damon hit
There you
me
go.
right away. Thanks again, bud. Appreciate it.
Well, I know you said, Richard, speaking of him right now, and once against the Lakers fast break, he said that's true. You're right, Gerald, as far as your thoughts on it, because I think LeBron just has a mentality that AD does not, as far as being that alpha dog, as far as wanting to go ahead and at least be that guy, having the basketball and the usage in his hand as far as most usage on the team. I just think that's something that AD has not acquired and or has of yet, at least as far as the Lakers with LeBron and him. It just seems like right now they're not ready, even though they talk about handing over the baton. It just seems like with LeBron, it's not going to happen, at least not until he breaks the scoring record. Maybe that mentality will change, but with AD, he has not had that type of mentality since he left New Orleans because he hasn't needed to with LeBron.
He did have it for, boy, did he ever have it in the first two games of the finals. And
But it's limited. We're talking games. We're not talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
series of games. I'm not.
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking
yeah,
about
it's
a larger window than
yeah,
just a game or two.
I would say if you're expecting him to be that guy for a full NBA season, really, there's not really a lot of players that can do that. I think that's the part where there's a spot that only the true greats are in it, right? And there's
I
very
saw that last night, my friend. I'm going to tell you right now. I saw that last night, but
yeah,
I'll talk more about that in a
yeah,
second.
the true greats. Okay, and this is the thing with basketball. The drop off on the three levels. Okay, you got the Kobe's, the LeBrons, those types. That level is just not possible to get there unless you're those guys. Then you have the ads. There's a lot of ads. You got guys like him. You guys got like CP3, those types, right? Really great players, Hall of Fame players, unique players. They're that next level. And then of course you start getting into the all stars, and then the very good players, and then the marginal players. But those gaps are huge. So if you are expecting Anthony Davis to be at a LeBron level, you will not be satisfied. That's never happened, and it never will happen. Even though he's shown flashes of brilliance, it takes just a different
Desire.
desire. It takes a different mindset to go into every game and want to dominate.
Mhm.
It's just very few people have ever done it.
Well, I'll tell you
And
what, though, it'd be great to have them both still playing at that level, and then having Kendrick Nunn. At least that makes them, if they're both all three are healthy and are playing like that, it makes them more competitive for the team as a whole.
yes, and we need. If I had to explain what would really work here is if Anthony Davis had the chance to really play the kind of defense that we all know he's capable of doing, and he doesn't have to worry about covering too much ground, he could really just run away with the Defensive Player of the Year award. And all they really need is they just need the spacing, man. They need the spacing in so many levels, and guys that can stay with their guys and shoot when they're open, make the shots when they're open. If they just somehow can do that, I don't know if it's possible with this roster. Probably not. But back to what I was saying about that damn Indiana trade, and seeing how I've watched them play this first two games, the starters. Obviously, I was upset 2 nights ago because I saw things in that game that I didn't see today, and I think I calmed down a little bit. They weren't giggling, they weren't laughing. Matter of fact, they were standing up, and they got a technical for celebrating the shots. Thank you, NBA. You suck as NBA refs doing simple calls on fouls, yet you throw a technical at people cheering after a good play. Thank you for
Encouraging their own teammates.
yeah, thank you very much for that. And then of course the excuse is, well, they're stepping on the court.
Give me a break.
All right, give me a break.
They all have a size 14 through 18
You're
shoes.
talking about.
What do you
I
expect?
mean, what are you supposed to do? This?
You see how close they are to the sidelines anyway.
They're practically on each other's laps on that thing. Why? Because you greedy owners want to make every inch of that place available so that they can rip off people to sit there. So I just got a kick out of that. I saw a technical. I'm like, whoa, what happened? I didn't know for like 2 minutes what happened. Then they finally showed the replay. I'm like, are you kidding me? You gave a technical for celebrating? So
in an exhibition game.
In an exhibition game. That's like calling a holding. That's like calling a holding call on the tackle on the other side of the field when the guy's already running on the right side. It's just common sense, guys. I mean, do we have it? Do we really have it? I know if I was Adam Silver, I'd sit everybody down. I'm like, guys, can you tell me what common sense means? But anyways, I saw tonight what I didn't see the 2 nights ago. I saw players paying attention and trying to wish their team to win. This is all I'm asking for, guys. I'm asking for participation and trying to win. And then they played to win. They played to win, and
And let me say is we're not always the want to be the negative people out there. We just tell it is like it is. We're when the team does well and when the team plays well, we're going to tell you. When they play like garbage, we're going to tell you that as well. We're not going to mince meat, and I think that a lot of people out there want those shows that okay, everything's on the bright and sunny side. And I know we have great people like Sovereign that watch the show that always want to go ahead and say that they're going to try to be on the positive side, and more power to them. Excellent. Appreciate your enthusiasm and continued positivity for the Los Angeles Lakers. But I know Joe and I know me. I'm going to call it like we see it. As far as if it stinks, we're going to let you know and we're not going to hide it from you. But tonight, a lot of people can take a lot of good things away from what the Lakers did tonight.
yeah, well, we're going to report and we're going to react according to what we see. And we're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We've had a lot of crazy stuff happen the last few years, a lot of on the court stuff, off the court stuff. We'll sit here and we'll criticize things and not agree with things and agree with things. But at the end of the day, we're not going to be the little baby whiners who are like, I'm not watching this anymore. They're not doing what I like. Life is not like that. There's going to, and 90% of the people out there are going to do things you don't like. The cool thing is we're in a place where we can say something. Okay, we say it, we saw it, and that's it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to say the heck with this. I may have stopped watching a few games because I got tired of losing a little bit, but I'm still going to be paying attention on the box score. I'm still going to see if they won. And in this situation, we're trying to somehow encourage or motivate these guys, even though we know most of them aren't going to know who we are or see what we say or care. But all I was asking to see is what we saw tonight. Give a crap. You guys are professionals. I don't care if you're a G League player. Try to play like you're like it matters, and it does for those guys. Unfortunately, they're not talented enough to execute on a regular basis, but that's life, okay? But I don't want you guys standing on the sidelines and while you're getting blown out by a massively inferior team. I don't like that. I don't want to see that. I don't care in any game. Just because I played pickup games in I remember I when I was, I don't know, what was it, 18 years old, we were playing against some older guys and we were playing, to win. And I remember one of them got irritated. He's like, we're not getting paid to do this. Now, if I fast forward, if I should say got a time machine, went back in time and put my brain now to my 18-year-old self, I would have said something to that guy that would have been really, really good.
I have no doubt about that, my friend. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is I want you to care. We're spending 2.5 hours of our life 3 to 4 days a week. We're spending an hour and a half talking about this. So we do have a stake in this. And we know what we're watching. I want to see effort. I want to see you give a crap. If you don't, retire and go sell cars. I don't care what you do at that point. And that's it. That's not too much to ask.
And I will say, to close out our conversation on the Lakers post game and head into what we're talking about from last night, I want to go ahead and close out the conversation by this was a showcase tonight for some of the younger players like Max Christie, like Cole Swider, Austin Reeves, and Wenyen Gabriel. Those guys got the bulk share of the minutes, and unfortunately it was to mixed results. I really feel bad for Cole Swider because I'm really hoping for the kid because he is the guy that's supposedly, if you've seen him in the summer, you saw he has a sweet stroke. Today, unfortunately, didn't show. 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. He did get a +3, but he really wasn't able to go ahead and do what a lot of people were hoping for. He did get 2 blocks and 2 steals, so he did provide something on the defensive end. But, yeah, just wished he would have been able. I'm really rooting for the kid, but unfortunately he's still not there yet, not ready yet to give you what you need on a consistent basis. Scottie Pippen and Max Christie, unfortunately, could not give you much today. It was really Wenyon Gabriel and Austin Reeves playing 30-plus minutes as well. Austin Reeves, 36 minutes, 6 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 block shots, 3 steals. I think from an all-around standpoint, he was pretty solid. Only a -4, so he was out there for an extended period of time, but you can take some okay things as far as what the young guys did today.
I was watching Scotty Jr. Play.
Mhm.
He's got something.
If he was only taller.
He's got something. If he develops a jump shot,
Oh, yeah.
he's going to have to be in that gym just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting.
He goes for the hot dog play a lot, and that's part of his issues.
Yeah, the hot dog thing ain't gonna work. He's not fast enough. Those AIs and Isaiah Thomases are freaks of nature. Even Chris Paul.
Well, just instead of making he'll make like the try to make the tricky pass instead of the straight pass, and unfortunately it'll go out of bounds or a turnover. I saw that all summer long, and I'm just thinking to myself, if the kid just goes ahead and just works on the fundamentals and starts doing it the right way, then you can go ahead once you become an established player in the league and actually get a lot of time. Go ahead and start working on doing some things that maybe are outside your realm, but work on the basics before you go ahead and get fancy.
Yeah, jump shot and control. I guess maturity might help him in that situation. And hopefully his dad, as whacked out as he's been those last 6 months, I would try to tell somebody to go tell Scotty, look, can you stop talking about the past and maybe go coach your son, because your son has something.
Yeah.
And he needs you to kind of maybe give him a shot here to have a career.
Yeah.
He's obviously been around this. He's got handles. It's just decision making and a jump shot. If he can hone in on that, on knowing the passing lanes a little bit better, and that's all going to come down to repetition. And of course, if he's shooting 500 shots a day, he might have a shot at having a career in the league. We've seen less talented guys have a career in this. Why wouldn't he be able to? He's a seasoned kid. He knows. Yeah. He's been around it. Whether I think it's the Lakers that he does that with, probably not. I think he'll probably catch on somewhere else unless he develops really quickly.
Yeah.
But as far as the young guys, I was really hard on Reeves 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He made up for his lack of effectiveness then, and I think that's probably the only thing I regretted 2 days ago in terms of my commentary. I thought I was harsh on Reeves. I kind of thought about that.
Well, he kind of needed that kick in the butt because the fact
and maybe that's what it is. I'm reacting to what I'm seeing, and I'm reacting to. There's a difference between someone who's just his shot is off. That happens.
Yeah.
But bonehead plays, that's the part, and they're not the kind of bonehead plays where the other guy is Gary Payton and just all up in your business. These are unforced type stuff, and I guess the accumulation of watching them just doing all the bad stuff all together just added more fuel to whomever was not playing the way they should have. Yep. And you also can't expect Reeves to be a star either. I think we get lost in that as Lakers fans. We think everybody's a star.
Yeah.
No, not everybody's a star. Very few of those guys could be a star. Even the guys that are really good. But I did like seeing him really do well, finding the open guys and playing good fundamental ball, knowing that, hey, my confidence really stinks right now shooting. I'm going to try to do other things that can help the ball game, or the team. And that's it. The effort was there. The enthusiasm on the sidelines was what it should be. People caring about these guys trying to win, and that's it. That's a good start. Now let's see if we can go in tomorrow and win a preseason game. This is 8 games in a row that we've lost a preseason game. Can we win one here? Can we win a 2 or 3? Just to kind of get the feeling of what it feels like to win. I just feel like loss after loss after loss. I mean, how many games did we lose ending the season last year? Like 10 of the last 12? So That's it. That's all I'm asking for, guys. Just like when your shot's not going, Go to the rim, get a little layup, watch the ball go through the hoop. This stuff matters, guys. We've been around this a long time. We know what works. Try to get a win here, guys. Let's get that feeling of winning that way. After 6 games of getting in shape here a little bit and getting to know each other, we can go into that Golden State game and take advantage of the fact that they're thinking about the rings that they're getting at the beginning of the game, and we can catch them kind of lollygagging, especially with that slappy Draymond Green slapping
Yep.
his teammates.
Yep, absolutely. There was an altercation earlier today in practice between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, so we'll see if there's any punishment that's handed down either from the league or from the team themselves in regards to it. So we'll see what happens there. But once again, it's the Lakers fast break, wrapping up as far as the post game, as far as that end of it, because we got much to discuss still on what happened yesterday. It was 119 to 115, the Pheonix Suns over the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers led most of the game. Unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, they did fall short, but still a pretty good performance overall. A lot of positives you could take away from it. They will be playing tomorrow night in a back-to-back game at the T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we'll go ahead and be on post-game for that. But before we head on out, my friend, the stuff, well, Richard says if you're having a bad shooting night, lock in on defense. Look at Kobe, Game 7 against the Celtics. Yeah, actually, that whole Lakers team, even though they were shooting horribly, they came back strong in that second half. It was really one of the most pleasurable games I've ever seen as far as the Lakers fan is concerned, even though the game itself was actually a very ugly one. If you're looking at it from just a basketball standpoint, as far as the shooting is concerned, because that was a terrible shooting game, but you could also see it as a defensive masterpiece as well. So you could look at it at both sides of the coin there. But before we head on out, I do want to discuss what I witnessed last night at the Dollar Loan Center Arena in Henderson. Was something I think everybody in the NBA today was talking about, and that was the matchup last night between the Metropolitan 92s versus the G League Ignite, and the two prospective, and I think two pretty much confirmed top choices for next year's NBA draft in Victor Wembanyama out of France and Scoot Henderson, who plays for the G League Ignite. I had the pleasure of watching that game. I'm looking forward possibly watching tomorrow's game wrap up between the two. They're playing 2 games together here in Las Vegas, or in the suburb, Henderson. They're actually playing it tomorrow afternoon, so I might check that game out as well, and I can share my thoughts if that's the case on tomorrow night's program. But I will say, Joe, that you had a lot to say as far as the quality in regards to what you're seeing as far as Victor Wembanyama after a 37.7 3-point performance last night. Just a tremendous second half for him. Kind of actually struggled heading into the first half. I mean, because he started off strong, and it was amazing that they forgot in the second quarter that they had a 7'5" player who runs and moves like a wing. I know a lot of people have been talking about, oh, Ralph Sampson, Ralph Sampson. This guy is not Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson is nowhere near as athletic and as smooth as Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama actually playing the 5 in the NBA might not be the best position for him. Playing the 3 or the 4 just might be, because this guy is fast, he's athletic, he is smooth, he shoots extremely well from the outside, as we saw last night. He, his inside game, he still gets, it's still slight of a build, so he's not as slight as a couple of the other guys that have come into the league in recent years, but he still needs to put on 20, 25 pounds of muscle because he still gets muscled out. But my God, the kid was just absolutely amazing that second half. It was a pleasure to watch. And Scoot Henderson, the guy is 6'2", built like a tank, very strong. Just needs to work to understand as far as the matchup, as far as the defensive game, but his offensive game is extremely well tuned already. Playing a season already with the G League Ignite, he is a killer from the mid range, and he actually has improved his 3-point shooting. We saw evidence of that last night, going 2 for 3. He is fearless, absolutely fearless. This kid, in the first half, he was going consistently to the much taller Victor Wembanyama, and actually showed a little bit of that on my YouTube shorts if you want to check it out on the YouTube channel. Also, I want to go ahead and mention the second half, even though Victor Wembanyama kind of actually figured him out a little bit and blocked a couple of his shots, Scoot Henderson said, okay, I'm going to score a little bit more still, but I'm going to go ahead and be more of a playmaker. So not only did he score 27, I think, as far as I remember, 28, he not only got that, but in the second half, he got 9 assists. So really just a great performance from both these guys. Victor Wembanyama, 37 points, 7 3-pointers, 5 block shots. I think, although he could have gotten 6 or 7. They gave him some ticky-tack fouls too. I was really irritated, and this whole crowd was because his third, fourth, and fifth fouls were all just ticky-tack fouls. But overall, my friend, we are seeing the future of the NBA, and if those two guys are heading it, it's going to be an extremely good future for the NBA. Those two guys are good. Those two guys
Victor moves like Porzingis.
He moves better than Porzingis. He moves like a 6'7" player.
I guess maybe his setup shot looked very Porzingis. I just
seen him run the floor, man. You should have seen him run the floor.
I saw
a forward. Small forward.
I saw highlights, so I'm gonna go with you on that, G. I'll catch his next game.
Laker Tom's dream of a 7'5" wing has come true. This kid is a 7'5" wing.
So if we get I'm just hypothetically speaking. So if we were to stink and win the lottery,
we wouldn't win anyways because Indiana has our pick.
Does Indiana have our pick, or does New Orleans?
New Orleans. Yeah, I'm sorry, not Indiana, but New Orleans.
That is terrible.
They can swap.
That would be terrible.
So we can't even tank.
Well, it's a deep draft.
I'm going to tell you right now, after last night's performance, you're going to see a ton of NBA teams tank. You're going to see at least 3, 4,
Well, we're not.
5.
It's either one of the great things about being a Laker fan is, Victor could be a guy that shows up in 7, 8 years. So you never worry about that kind of stuff. Heck, how many first picks have we gotten from other teams that's won us titles? Shaq, Anthony Davis.
That kid is special. Both LeBron. These kids are special.
LeBron. So you've gotten 3 of them anyways. I just hope he can handle the NBA is kind of soft, so I think it's good.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Scoot Henderson, that kid is fearless. You should have seen him in the first half. He went to the hole time and time ahead with aggression and without fear. And that guy took it upon as a challenge. He was making a statement. And it looked like at the first half, people were talking about, oh, maybe it's a mistake that they're picking this, or people thinking that Victor Wembanyama is the number 1 pick, and maybe Scoot should be the number 1 pick because of how aggressive he was. It wasn't until that amazing second half performance by Victor that had everybody convinced that these two kids are really special and the future of the NBA.
Well, you can't stop 7'2".
He's 7'5".
I heard he's 7'2".
He's closer to 7'5". I was nearby him. So
you're talking. When we talk about Ralph Sampson, and we're not 7'5" is tall.
He's 7'4", 7'5", but he does not move like Ralph Sampson even before the knee injuries. We're talking about someone who actually runs the floor and actually moves. You can actually see it even in the highlights I put down in the shorts. He actually moves and glides like a small forward. He does not play like a traditional center.
Scoot looks like a second version of John Morant. John Morant is fearless. John Morant has good handles. He's got a good base. He's got hops. He
reminds me a lot of him. He's got a great mid-range game. Absolutely outstanding mid-range game.
Yeah.
And playing in the G League Ignite already for a season has helped.
So if he has a decent teammate, a big or a point guard and they want to run pick and rolls left and right, oh boy. Ooh. It'll be a 15-foot layup every time. And on top of that, he can get to the hole because he's fearless and can make the shot. It's like, the NBA's every 2-3 years you have that can't miss guy or can't miss guys. But the cool thing is about this draft, unfortunately, we're not going to get the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Is there's a lot of talent in this draft.
Yeah.
And
I believe that the twins are also the Thompson twins. I
The
believe
best. They're saying they're the best twins ever. I don't know what that
yeah.
means, but I guess.
Sorry, Morris twins. Sorry, Lopez
Yeah,
twins.
yeah. I'd say if you had to pick, I would say who else? It would be Morris or the Brooks or the
Yeah.
Lopez brothers, right? They're probably the best
Yeah.
twins, the 1 and 2 right now in NBA history. Would you
I would
say
say
that?
the close to it. Yeah, I off the top of my head, I don't
Okay,
remember any
okay.
others.
Well, I think
But
that's kind of cool.
it's
You
going to
get
be a loaded draft. It's going to be a great
you
draft.
get you get if you miss out on one, you got another one coming. That's pretty good.
But I'm telling you right now, all these NBA teams that are thinking about tanking, they made their mind up as far as wanting to tank.
Well, Victor's quote from his agent. I should have probably said it now while you were bringing it up instead of before, in case you guys missed it at the beginning. Let me go ahead and bring it up. So,
It was very definitive.
yeah, an NBA player, NBA people are telling me to shut him down, and we are not going to shut him down. Bona Jai told ESPN on Wednesday, that's his agent, if we came with that kind of talk, Victor, he will look at us and say, "What are you talking about?" He'll never agree to that. He wants to compete and get better. With Victor, it's basketball first and everything else second. He was so pissed off that he lost.
Absolutely, because it was a great second half performance, a great second half comeback.
That
They were
is
down by
coming.
20.
That is coming from an 18-year-old born in 2004. People,
Yeah, absolutely.
take notes. That's for the veterans that are playing in the NBA. Ben
Well,
Simmons, Durant, Kyrie. Take note of that 18-year-old. That's
well,
who's going
my
to be. That's going to be who's going to be busting your ass in about a year.
Well, my good friend, Mr. Rafael Barlow from the NBA Big Board and the NBA Draft Junkies, he was also there in the arena last night. He was actually getting a chance to interact with Victor's agent and also as well Victor's parents last night. I know he had great conversations with them, and they echoed, I'm sure, the pretty much the same sentiment that this kid is going to be determined to go ahead and do what he can to not only solidify himself as the number one pick, but to keep getting better and to keep helping his team win. Like you said, he could be shutting it down now. He's already proven what he needs to prove. He is a definitive number one pick. Scoot Henderson, he himself is also a definitive number two pick, or at least a very high one at that, because both these kids' futures seem sky high. But I'll tell you what, it just seemed to me like it was a great pleasure at last night, the chance that I got to see it. I'm surprised that only less than half the arena or about half the arena was filled last night. I was kind of disappointed to see that because the future of the NBA was on display last night and it was very bright. But I do know before we head on out, my friend, you and I want to go ahead and answer Richard's question about going to the Wayback Machine. I did get a chance to go ahead and see the individual where you were asking about. So I'll go ahead and give you a shout out for the listeners out there of the podcast. Richard was asking here in the chat. I have a question off topic, but related to the Lakers Celtics. We drafted James Worthy number one. Everybody knows exactly how his career went. Multiple championships with the Lakers, multiple All-Star teams, Hall of Famer, no question about it. But how good was Len Bias? Len Bias, if you're not familiar, was a very high pick of the Boston Celtics. Unfortunately, before he ever actually got a chance to play with the Boston Celtics, unfortunately died of was it a cocaine overdose, if I'm not mistaken? And all I can say is that I did get to see Len Bias play at Maryland, and he was an extremely effective scorer. He had elite talent at that point in time. I think the career for him, maybe if you talk about a one-on-one career with James Worthy, could have actually been higher as far as from an individual level. But again, we'll never know. We'll have to, like I said, you can only speculate, but his future was extremely bright. I was really high on him at the time. I had seen him, like I said, at some of the nationally televised college games at the time on Maryland. I really thought he was something special, and it just so sad to hear and see the news when it popped out the day he was announced dead. And unfortunately, like I said, a very tragic ending to what it could have been a very promising life and a promising career.
Yeah, he could leap and he can shoot. He had a very sweet jump shot.
Yeah. He could score.
He could score, and boy, Lakers might be sitting at 16 titles right now had he not passed away, and he would have helped transition that bird-eccentric team into, unfortunately, with Reggie Lewis as well. He could have been; those guys would have been the Kobe. I would say the Pippen Jordan type type team in the '90s. You don't ever wish anything like that to happen. And if we're talking facts here, it would have been he would have been a problem. And at that time, players played 3 or 4 years in college, and he would have been extremely effective that first year. I have I have a pretty good feeling had he played in the '87 finals against the Lakers might have lost that finals with him playing.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that because he actually was that special. I really think coming out of college, he was, because it's so hard to evaluate at that time how good James Worthy was going to be because he played in the Dean Smith system. And of course, the old adage about Michael Jordan, who's the person that could play the best defense against Michael Jordan? And the old joke was Dean Smith because he was in such a controlled environment in North Carolina as far as what they can do and what they can not do as far as, James Worthy as well. So, yeah, I think it's at this point in time, history books will say that it was a very tragic story to someone who could have met a very promising future and it had a very great Hall of Fame worthy career in Len Bias. I really thought he could have been one of the great ones of the late 1980s.
He would have been a '90s player. He would have been a prominent '90s player. He would have
because
been,
he would have been coming into his maturity around mid-20s by the '90s. So yeah,
and with Reggie Lewis and Len Bias, the Celtics could have been a force.
Could have even impacted the Chicago run.
It could have cost, because Len Bias was that talented from what I saw and what I never. Obviously, I was too young to know what was going on at the time, but everything I've read and everything I've seen said that he was going to be. And again, Red Auerbach never really messed up those kind of picks, anyways.
No.
So it's no doubt that you were looking at
something special.
You were looking at the next freakish superstar. Again, with Reggie Lewis on that team, if he hadn't passed away, you're looking at you're looking at another Pippen and Jordan. And I'm not going to say Len Bias would have been Jordan. You can't say that. But you definitely would have had someone just as athletic, just as physically dominating. But what separated Jordan from everyone was this. So we don't know. We're just kind of speculating that he would have been a problem. We don't know. I don't know. But I do know this.
Yeah.
I would have been scared in '87 with him on that team. So
I agree with you.
That because I guys came out pretty seasoned out of college when they were really, really good.
Well,
Guys
hopefully,
yeah.
Well, the only thing is like that. Go and I'll let you finish up. Let me go. I've got something to add on.
I'm good.
Well, the only reason why I say is because I want this hopefully to make sure everybody out there as a reminder for the Scoot Hendersons and Victor Wembanyama's of the world, what can happen when you're given that sudden fame and fortune, and hopefully lend whatever good could come out of it, such a tragedy as the Len Bias story. Hopefully, in the decades since that, these players have been reminded constantly about the tragedy of Len Bias so that they could go ahead and say, you know what, I'm not going to make those same mistakes. Hopefully Victor and Scoot will be reminded of the tragedy of Len Bias so that they won't fall into those same traps.
I think the NBA has done a good job avoiding these issues. It's kind of like NASCAR with driver safety. You've noticed that there haven't been any deaths the last several years. There's also a lot of EKG type stuff especially with people like hand gatherers having heart issues, things like
tragedy. That was terrible.
Yeah. So the one thing that's good about I was in InQ one time. My buddy had premature twins, and boy, if you want a definition of how amazing America can be, go to one of those places. I mean, they got that thing. I mean, I thought I was walking into a hotel. I really, really felt like I was walking to a hotel. Then you walk into that InQ place and you see all these babies. And when it comes to that kind of stuff, man, people get on it quick. And the NBA and NFL and all these places. I mean, I shouldn't even say the NFL really too much, but definitely when it comes to the heart and the what am I pre what? What am I thinking word wise? The preemptive measures
Yeah.
to make sure that people aren't having irregular heartbeats and that kind of stuff. I've noticed that we're not having these issues like we used to. I think the only issues we're having with people maybe going out early is the C word.
Yeah.
That stuff seems to be creeping up a little bit.
Well, shout out to all the NICU doctors and nurses. I'm married to a NICU nurse right here, so I truly appreciate the kind words on that. So I'll give her a shout out after we're done here.
We're very versed. We're very versed in the Laker talk department, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But shout out to all NICU nurses and NICU doctors out there. But once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers once again did fall short, but a very promising first half and a very promising first quarter as far as LeBron playing pretty good with Westbrook. Tomorrow is a game, like I said, back to back. We don't know who's going to play. We don't know who might have lower back stiffness, quote unquote, aka they're just sitting out because it's Vegas and a back to back. Your thoughts on tomorrow night's game in Minnesota? What are you looking for? And by the way, John McCallion, just want to let you know because you're asking. Think of a neonatal intensive care unit is a NICU as far as NICU nurse for everybody out there. I just call it NICU all the time because I've been, I'm married to one, so it's like second nature to me. But to let everybody know, neonatal intensive care unit. So just to let everybody know out there. So speaking of nurses, how's your blood pressure, Joe? John? Oh my gosh, still with a shot. But that aside, my friend, before we head on out, what are your thoughts on tomorrow night's game against Minnesota? How should the Lakers approach it? I think, again, the team is now 0 of 10 for the last 10 exhibition games. I really think that they should go ahead still and try to find the effort to find a way to win just to get that type of mentality. But seeing as how probably a lot of Lakers will be rested that are key Lakers after playing a back-to-back, I think that it's going to be a tough thing to ask. And I think we're just got to be looking for some pluses wherever we can get them. Because remember, Minnesota didn't play last night or tonight. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to feel good if they go into the season 0-6 again. It's not going to feel good.
No, and and you've stated that repeatedly, and I agree.
This has happened twice already, right? Remember in 13?
Yeah.
0-8, 0-6.
Yep.
And everybody loves the word precursor on the show.
Yep. That's our key word.
It's a precursor to the doom. While you're paying attention to Indiana trades and things like that, the results the last two times we've dogged it in the preseason, the regular season followed with the same dog effort and dog results. We have to be careful, guys. This is a competition, and competition starts in practice. And then the next level above practice is preseason or exhibition games. You need to set the tone. You need to set the tone in these games. It's important. I wish Darvin had put at least one of his guys in the fourth quarter so that they could do something. If you're worried about people getting injured, then you're not focusing on what matters. If you're worried about them getting injured in the second game of a preseason game, then how the hell are these guys going to play 82 games?
Well, that's a good thing that John's bringing up. He's actually bringing up a good question before we head on out. And he says, do you guys think it's an absolute necessity to play the big three in the remainder of the preseason? I think they need some reps together because, remember, they only played 22 games with each other last season. They do need some reps with each other. And I don't even know if the big three, you could consider Russell Westbrook part of that big three, the way Kendrick Nunn has been playing.
Well, you do what you did today. You played LeBron, you played Russell Westbrook. First half they were competitive with their big guys. The second half should have had the rest of the guys playing. They should have had Nunn playing. They should have had Reeves playing more at the end. I don't know why that happened. Why don't you play Reeves? Why don't you play Nunn a little bit? Let them get. Nunn hasn't played basketball in a year.
Well,
So
Reese played 36 minutes.
I'm sorry, Reeves is fine. Reeves played enough minutes. But I would have put Nunn in in the fourth quarter
I agree
to at
with you
least
there.
stabilize the offense a little and try to maintain that 5-point lead, and then let's finish off with a win. We'll see if they can if somebody tells them to do that tomorrow. I know that's what I would say if I was an assistant coach.
Do you
Maybe
think
we should do
AD
this.
plays tomorrow and LeBron doesn't?
I would say that probably sounds about right.
Okay.
I would say that would probably work.
And I would probably see that Nunn is probably going to rest. I would probably say because of the fact that he's coming off a serious injury that lasted the entire season, I would probably guesstimate. And I haven't heard on this. They might already be alerting people on the Lakers channel already. They might already have advanced word on it. I don't see anything on Twitter as of yet, but maybe LeBron will play. I'm not sure. Again, I think Kendrick Nunn playing back to back. I probably would sit him out for this game next against the Minnesota Timberwolves, just because of the fact if you're supposed to be bringing him along slowly and you played him over 20 minutes tonight, I really think that you want to go ahead, or actually right around 20 minutes tonight. I think you really need to go ahead and just maybe let him rest and be ready for the next game. But we'll see what happens, my friend. There's still a lot of players to go ahead and evaluate. There's still, this bench, this rotation is still way up in question. Last question for you, my friend. We saw the way Kendrick Nunn played in this limited amount of minutes tonight. I think the fact that he came off the bench is a precursor to what might happen for the regular season.
If this is to play out well,
Mm-hmm.
him coming off the bench would be huge.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if we have enough talent for him to do that.
That's the problem.
And that's why that Indiana thing creeped up in my head, because if there was some way they can make that trade for only one pick, then you have a starting two coming back, and then you have a starting center that's going to, if he stays healthy, of course,
Yeah.
gonna eliminate that need there. And he just so happens to be a perfect complement to AD's skill set. So yeah, I'm turning into Laker Tom right now because of what I saw today.
That could be a good thing, my friend. A little bit more positivity is not a
It,
bad thing.
I don't consider myself a positive or negative person. I'm telling you what I saw.
Same here.
This
We
could
call it like
change.
it
This
is.
this could change tomorrow, and I'm back to being angry. However, I do somewhat believe that Darvin Ham, somebody or something told him from 2 nights ago that you guys kind of look like garbage. You should probably go into this next game doing a little bit
But I'm going to be
different
honest
things.
with you, my friend. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not expecting a whole lot tomorrow because you got to remember Minnesota's coming in fresh. They're already here in Las Vegas. They've been resting, so they'll come in fresh tomorrow night where the Lakers will be back to back. I mean, you got a lot of the young kids are going to be playing, so they should be still ready to play and ready to contribute as far as some good minutes are concerned. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think they'll lose by 30. I don't think they'll also go ahead. You never know. Actually, it's the NBA. It's exhibition season, so I don't want to take anything for granted. You're right. They could play and they could win tomorrow. You never know. There could be a Las Vegas hangover in the making for Minnesota. Maybe too much at the clubs here, so we'll see what happens. Maybe too much at the blackjack or poker tables. We'll see. But once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. If you have any questions for us, you can always hit us up on the YouTube channel. We do read the comments. We do get to them as whenever we can. Also, as well, if you subscribe today, and we're very close to 300. Thank you so much for everybody who was a part of going ahead and subscribing to our channel. We are now at 296, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, hey, we're on our way to 300. Please go ahead and subscribe today so you too can find out when we go live with our latest shows like tomorrow night. We're going to go ahead and, again, be here for tomorrow night after the game against Minnesota. Looking forward to talking about that. Plus, also, I will have either way thoughts on the second matchup between Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson. It is important we talk about this because those two are going to be a big part of the future of the NBA going forward. So I will definitely, whether or not I see the game live, I will be sharing my thoughts on that as well. But once again, it's Lakers Fast Break. You can always get a hold of us at Lakers Fast Break or LakersFastBreak at yahoo.com. Go ahead and check out Joe's comments during the course of the game. at Lakerholics.com. Excuse me, LakersBall.com. Of course, LakersBall.com as Ox1947. And of course, don't forget Laker Tom right there. Laker Tom, in honor of Laker Tom. Get better. Hope you're feeling better, my friend. Hope you're getting well. And also Jamie Sweet, who was busy tonight. He was tied up. But both those guys are doing what they can for Lakerholics.com. Well, once again, the Lakers, unfortunately, with a good, strong effort in the first half, but unfortunately faltering in the fourth quarter, they fall to the Pheonix Suns 119 to 115. But we'll be back tomorrow night talking some great stuff as far as the second game here in Vegas. Will the second time around be a jackpot for the Lakers? We'll find out. Or will they be rolling some snake eyes right there? We'll find out what's going to go on in the second night of a back-to-back here in Vegas. But we do appreciate everyone that was watching, listening. Thank you so much. Big shout out to John, Richard. I mean, everybody was great there in the chat room tonight. Cannot thank everybody enough. Dennis was awesome. Thank you so much for your thoughts as well. Truly appreciate it. Everybody, Paul Terry, he stopped by. You know he's going to. His Fire Ham tweets were already, his Fire Ham comments were already there. Got to go ahead and appreciate him stopping by. Got to go ahead and appreciate as well everybody that stopped by in the chat. Thank you so much. Tycoon Rave, a new viewer. Truly appreciate you stopping by, sharing your thoughts on DeMarcus Cousins, who was in Las Vegas, who lives in Las Vegas and was at the game last night. So hopefully he can get picked up by a team. I don't know which one. Maybe the Lakers. You never know. They do need some help at the 5. BDA Pink had some great questions to start us off. So thank you so much for everybody in the chat room. And Terrell Davis, got to give you a shout out as well. You started the conversations tonight, and we truly appreciate it. So for Joe Soro, this is Gerald Glassford. We want to thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you tomorrow night after the game against Minnesota in a back-to-back here in Las Vegas. Will it be snake eyes or will it be a jackpot? We'll find out tomorrow right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening.